Number 3, what kind of improvement you are expecting in the key conversion metrics. Number 4, how long would it take to get the ROI? Last but not the least, what's the exit strategy on the project? E-commerce director should be held accountable for reviewing the answers to the above questions and validating the expected ROI. Number 4, project estimation team should not accept the project for estimation unless all the above business questions are properly answered and approved by the e-commerce director. Number 5, e-commerce director should review the project estimates and determine the percentage of effort going towards analytics. Okay, listen very carefully, this is very important. E-commerce director should review the project estimates and determine the percentage of efforts going towards analytics. If analytics is taking a decent percentage of your project budget, then it's a time to call up a meeting between your e-commerce and project team and validate their reasoning. I've seen various project estimates in the past allocating more than 10 to 15% of the project budget towards analytics, which is a lot. The major chunk of analytics hours gets allocated towards system requirements designing and quality testing. The project manager should be responsible for gathering the development and QA test plan from the project team and present to the e-commerce team for their feedback in collaboration with the development and QA leads. The focus of the discussion should be around expected business reports, your key performance indicators, your functional testing approach, and how the UAT should be performed. Development team should have an extensive set of analytics-focused unit test cases, which should be completely automated. The development team lead should be held accountable for delivering 90% test execution with proper reasoning behind the failed test cases. This is really important. I've seen very few organizations in the industry performing unit test cases against analytics projects. Next, QA should not accept any project unless it meets the following criteria. Number 1, the project scope should be clearly explained to the QA team to avoid the unnecessary delays and inefficient test execution. Number 2, the unit test case report should be presented and explained to the QA lead. Number 3, list of new business reports, KPIs, and their location should be shared with the QA team. Number 4, details on how to validate the analytics tags should be explained to the QA team. Define what constitutes as a defect in the project. This is really important. I've seen a lot of arguments, a lot of disputes between QA and development team regarding the definition of a defect. So you need to explain your QA team what defines a defect and what they should be logging into, and what kind of inputs are required from the QA team to debug an issue. Last but not the least, details on how to set up analytics environment in the staging area before the testing commences. QA team should execute both functional and regression test cases before declaring the QA completion. Here are the 3 things QA team should keep in mind during test execution phase. Number 1, the test environment should be completely configured before the testing commences. Number 2, regression test scripts should be completely automated and validate the analytics tags exclusively. Number 3, functional testing should be exclusively focused on running real-life scenarios and validating the new and optimized business reports. Here's an important point to consideration. No test case should be passed unless and until the business reports are validated in terms of data and metric. The e-commerce director should not accept any project for UAT unless and until QA lead explains the text execution report and provides the key test cases for user acceptance testing. E-commerce director should assign the UAT task to the expected data consumers in his team and ask them to work in collaboration with the QA lead and get the test cases executed before the project goes live. The UAT cycle should be restricted to maximum 5 business days. Again, it depends on the scope of your project. If you have a bigger project which requires a bigger testing cycle, you should extend your UAT testing cycle too. Once the project goes live, e-commerce team should be responsible for validating the data in the production report suite and checking the conversion trends for next 45 days post-launch. If every e-commerce player in the industry optimizes their software development lifecycle based on above techniques, I can assure it can result in best return out of their e-commerce investment and maintain the data integrity for a longest period of time. With this, we conclude this discussion, and as usual, I expect your valuable feedback and criticism on my website, that is conversionpath.typepad.com. With this, thanks for listening and have a wonderful day.